you live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda. This is the 6 a.m. news here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this morning, industry impresses on government to find lasting solutions to the unstable power supply because the alternative sources of power comes costly to the business growth.
The cost of these alternative sources of power are high, and normally because it requires that you have to put down a large sum of money at a go in order to set up some of these alternative sources like solar, and lots of our members are unable to cough up the money to set up this.
Also this morning, Teacher Trainee Association of Ghana demands urgent government action as presidency acknowledges petition on unpaid teachers. And much later, retired security officials Dr. Nyahonyao Tamaklo and Brigadier General Nunu Mensah urged government to intensify coordinated crackdown on illegal mining or face severe national consequences.
We are wiping the problem up. We are not dealing with it. When people are threatening your life, we are all at risk. We are at the point of being killed. Declare martial law, suspend the laws of the country, and give them special power to deal with the problem. It will be dealt with.
Details of our headlines and other stories. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. I am Enyonam Haligah. We'll start off with this morning. Industries and President government to find lasting solutions to the unstable power supply being experienced in the country. The Association of Ghana Industries says the alternative sources of power available come costly to the growth of their businesses. Let's take a listen to the Greater Accra chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, Enyonam Haligah.
So that's really great. So for those who have these solar and other renewable sources of power, they are less affected with the current situation we are dealing with. However, the cost of these alternative sources of power are high, and normally because it requires that you have to put down a large sum of money at a go in order to set up some of these alternative sources like solar, and lots of our members are unable to cough up the money to set up this, except for the few established ones with the capacity to do this.
Right.
So, as it is now, we would just encourage our members to continue to establish the alternative sources like solar, so that in the future we can minimize and mitigate some of these challenges in a big way.
They have called on government to ensure reliable power supply for business growth.
We would like to encourage government to, as a matter of necessity, come out with a plan that helps AGI to be at least try to mitigate the risks. Because you see, if I know that I will have light tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in my factory, it's easier for me to plan and decide who should come to the factory or not. So we are saying that in the immediate terms, we need daily, by the hour, and or at least weekly plans, quickly. So that will help us to mitigate. All the work we do in industry rely heavily on planning. So we need that to plan.
Now, still on the energy, the minority in Parliament says the energy minister must face scrutiny just like Gridco Chief Executive Officer, indicating that Dr. John Jinapor's policy direction and government's neglect of the energy sector recovery program have caused recent power outages. The deputy ranking on Energy Committee is demanding payment of some $500 million owed to independent power producers and a comprehensive briefing on plans to resolve the crisis.
However, the data available to us is that government owes IPPs over $500 million and over $200 million to companies that supplied fuel for power generation. We call on the government to come clear on the financial situation in the sector, particularly after the imposition of the Dumso levy. The suspension of officials must not serve as a press release substitute for a genuine reckoning with the policy failures that has brought Ghana's energy sector to its knees. If any official is to face scrutiny, let that same scrutiny fall on the energy minister and on this president.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Energy has announced the restoration of 3 generation units following the fire outbreak at Great Coast Substation at Akosombo, saying the development is already seeing improved electricity supply. The fire, which damaged the substation's control room, significantly disrupted power transmission and affected the evacuation of electricity across parts of the country. Spokesperson and head of communication at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Richmond Roxon, says government has stayed on call to solve the challenges in the sector.
This government has been as transparent as it can be. It's a government that will only put out facts and not fiction or false information. We'll be clear on what the data on our generation capacity is. We know what our installed capacity is. We know what our dependable capacity is. As we speak, it is information that everybody can track. We don't have any issue with generation. Any purported research that says that there's a deficit in generation is false. It is a very misleading report. And it's important that we all take time to understand what the supply and what the dispatch position is and what goes into determining or what goes into dispatching power plant. And so it is not the case that the reason is not the challenges we have in the distribution center. That is the reason. Our generation is fine, our transmission is fine, but we are dealing with the challenges that we have with distribution. And
Spokesperson and head of communication at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Richmond Roxon, there. Now, away from that, the Teacher Trainee Association of Ghana says it is expecting urgent action from government following confirmation that its petition has reached the highest office of the land. The association submitted a petition over the unemployment of trained teachers and has acknowledged by the Office of the President. A letter dated April 21, 2026, the presidency indicated that concerns raised have been forwarded to the Ministry of Education for what it describes as pragmatic action. While the association welcomes the development, it insists the situation on the ground remains critical. Thousands of trained teachers across the country, they say, continue to face prolonged unemployment with delays worsening financial hardship and uncertainty. It has scheduled high-level engagement with the President and the Minister for Education, where it plans to demand clear timelines and concrete action on the postings. Now to some other stories now, as retired security officials, Captain Retired Dr. Enyonam Haligah and Brigadier General Joseph Nunu Mensah are calling government to intensify the crackdown on illegal mining. Speaking at a town hall meeting to reflect their past for the future, they explained that without a coordinated and forceful approach, the long-term cost of illegal mining to the country could be severe.
Speaking at a town hall meeting, a former Chief of Defense Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier Joseph Nunu Mensah, and statesman Dr. Enyonam Haligah both called for a coordinated and forceful approach in dealing with the menace of illegal mining.
We are not dealing with the problem. We are tinkering with the problem. We are wiping the problem off. We are not dealing with it. When people are threatening your life, your livelihood, we are all at risk. We are at the point of being killed. Declare martial law. Suspend the laws of the country and give them special power to deal with the problem. It will be dealt with. We're not doing that.
The way I see what is happening, we have people in the various reserve forests with equipments that will not be easy to control, and they are destroying our natural resources.
The two former military officers also pushed for strategic leadership at the Defense Ministry to strengthen the national response.
So, the military, they respect maturity and rank. So you don't send a young man to go there as a defense minister. In fact, it has never happened in our history. Right from Nkrumah's time, those who have been defense ministers are matured people. When I say matured, somebody 40 plus, 50 going. They are mature people because they will not take decisions just roughly like that. You have to be careful with that ministry.
Whether you have a defense minister or you can run the government, you can do it. I know you can do it. When one of the American chief of staff, when the Riga was shot, one of these American generals, who was the head of the White House chief of staff, they asked who was in charge. I'm in charge. He took over power. Don't sit down and do nothing.
And finally, before we go, the Ministry of Local Government has issued a 1-week ultimatum to the metropolitan, municipal and district chief executive across the Greater Accra region to remove all unauthorized billboards. The directive forms part of renewed efforts to restore order, improve safety and enhance the city's visual appeal.
To look at this space, because when we are looking at the urban development, these are all areas we need to look at. We just don't have to focus on the buildings and other areas, but the advertising space is one area we need to ensure that the space is well managed. And so I would say that the MMDCs have assured us we'll come back in a week, especially to the areas that we've visited. And then from there, we'll do the Dansoman areas as we saw in the pictures. And
that was the Deputy Minister for Local Government, Rita Na Odoli Sowa. That brings us to the end of the first half of this morning's bulletin. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Haligah. Business News is right up.
3FM 92.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.